Hi friends, I'm outside again on a beautiful day under this great big tree that's been here for a long time by the way it looks. It reaches way into the sky, and I've brought a book with me today about trees because tomorrow, on Friday, the whole country is going to be celebrating a holiday that not many people really celebrate. That holiday is Arbor Day. Arbor Day started in Nebraska, the state we live in, by a man named J. Sterling Morton. He lived in a town called Nebraska City, and he thought it was very important to be planting trees. So he started doing that. And then we got a holiday called Arbor Day. Arbor is a word for trees. It's kind of a science word for trees. And we're going to read this book about Arbor Day. And it's taken place a long time ago. And this girl is going to be our main character. So maybe you'd like to find a tree that you could sit under and listen to our story. Arbor Day Square. This book is written by Catherine Galbraith and illustrated by Sid Moore. Katie takes a deep breath. Everything smells new, she tells Papa, and everything does. Their prairie town is growing week by week. Now they have stores with glass windows, a church with a steeple, and a schoolhouse with desks for all 17 students to sit in long rows. Every week, the train brings more people who are eager for land. The train also brings more lumber and logs for houses, stables, fences, and barns. Ooh, there was a word we haven't talked about this week. Lumber. Lumber is a word we use for wood that comes from trees to build all those things she said. Houses, stables, that would be a place for the horses, fences, and barns. Trees help build all of those things with their wood. Papa helps pace out the town square. It will be a gathering place for concerts and socials and speeches. Like the square back east, the ones back home, the ones they remember as kids. Only one thing is missing. Katie and the children know it. The townsfolk and the farmers know it too. There are no trees on the prairie. No trees for climbing or for shade. No trees for fruit or warm winter fires. No trees for birds or for beauty. At the town meeting, everyone agrees that a proper town, their town, needs trees. Mrs. Johansson passes a basket. Precious nickels, dimes, and quarters tumble in. Jingle, jingle, clink. Katie adds her own 6 pennies and Papa's silver dollar. When the basket is heavy, Mr. Klein taps out an order over the telegraph lines. Ooh, there he is. He doesn't have a telephone back when they were starting this town. His message says, send 15 trees. Days tick by. Sunny days, rainy days, windy days, when dust devils dance in the road. At last the telegraph lines tap back. trees are coming. Toot! When the train pulls in, folks hurry to the depot. Babies and dogs come too. Katy skips beside Papa, swinging her bucket and her dolly. They're here! Papa, Mr. Zimmerman, and all the O'Briens carefully unload the boxcar, counting as they go. 13, 14, 15. Katy stares at the saplings. Ooh, a sapling is a small, kind of like a baby tree. It's not grown very long. She stares at the saplings, all spindly and green. They're too little. Don't worry, they'll grow, promises Papa. But Katy isn't sure. Katy and Papa follow the parade of trees to the new town square. Papa and Mr. Carter dig 3 holes. Dig, swing, scoop. Dig, swing, scoop. Papa plants 3 small maples. Let me help, Katy says. She gently pats the soil down around each baby tree. I said those were maple trees. I bet you might have a maple tree in your neighborhood. Under the warm sun, more trees spring up. Someday these oaks will shade that bench, Papa says. And there, the elm tree will shelter the bandstand. But Katy isn't sure. Neighbors plant 4 maples near the church, 1 apple tree on the corner, and 3 chestnut trees in the dusty schoolyard. Danny O'Brien leads the bucket brigade. Katy lugs her bucket too. Cool drinks for tasty treats, trees and dogs. They don't have a long hose to go water those trees, do they? They had to pump the water and carry it with a bucket. In a quiet corner of the square, Papa and Katy dig a hole together. Here they plant a flowering dogwood in memory of Mama. Katy touches the tender leaves. It's very little, but now this is our special tree, she whispers. Papa hugs her. Yes, our very special tree. As the sun begins to set, the square bristles and blooms with green. Papa and Katy spread their blanket next to Mama's tree. Katy peeks into the basket. There's plenty of food to share with friends and dogs and Dolly. As old Doc fiddles up the moon, neighbors gather their children and dogs and wave goodnight. Let's do this again next year, they say. And they do. Year after year, they gather in the square for another Arbor Day, a tree planting day, a holiday, carrying shovels, rakes, and hoes. Katy and Papa help plant trees throughout the town. Trees for climbing, trees for shade, trees for fruit and warm winter fires, trees for birds and for beauty. And every year Papa laughs and tells Katy, "Don't worry, honey, they'll grow." And every year they do. It's another Arbor Day. Neighbors, kids, and dogs hurry to the square. Here come Katy and Danny O'Brien with their Meg and Ann. Oh, Katy's all grown up now. And here's her dad. He's became a grandpa. Katy had a little girl. Her name is Megan. Katy's papa, now a grandpa, holds one of Megan's hands. In the square lies a small row of saplings, spindly and green. Katy smiles. "One day that willow will sweep the pond," she says. "And there, the cedar will touch the sky." Megan shakes her head and Katy laughs. "Don't worry, honey, they'll grow. Now let's find your grandma tree." Megan rushes across the square. Her family follows just behind. There Katie spreads out their blanket under the blooming dogwood tree. Robins rustle in the leaves and sparrows chirp and flutter. Megan peeks into the basket. There's plenty of food to share with friends and dogs and her baby bear. When the moon rises silver and round, neighbors gather up children and grandchildren and whistle for the dogs. "See you here again next year," they call. And they do. Celebrating families, trees, and neighbors year after year and the year after that. Wow, look how tall those trees have grown. Ooh, and here at the end has a little map of the United States. Here's where Nebraska would be. That's where we live. And a long time ago, J. Sterling Morton, he celebrated and planted trees. And still today we can celebrate Arbor Day and plant trees in our neighborhoods. I hope you enjoyed that story and can spend some time outside enjoying a tree at your house. Have a fun day.